Hi guys, and welcome back. Today we're looking at another recreation. This was the very first recreation I done, and it isn't of anywhere in the known universe, sort of, technically. It's of a game. So this was made out of the game called Lucius, or from the game called Lucius, should I say. And to be honest, without this build, I would never have even got into using anything except my own creativity, which isn't always the best sometimes. So this is the first build I done using a floor plan and using pictures, and it was actually for a lovely lady on one of the Facebook group on a Facebook group. There's build requests available, and I was just bored one day. So I had a look, being me, I had to choose the most complicated one. And so, yeah, I ended up downloading the game, I must admit. It started with pictures, and it was quite difficult. It is a horror game, so it's got quite a dark atmosphere to it. And there was only so many pictures I could get as well, unfortunately. So I ended up getting the game. I like games anyway. I must admit, this first horror game I've actually played in quite a while. Must admit, I actually haven't finished it, but I am still currently enjoying the game. It took me a while to get in rather than just be rather than just making a build of it. So I would like to start by warning you, it is of a horror game, as I've already said. There is a little bit of blood in one particular room that I can recall that we will be seeing. So if you have little ones, I suggest you. It is honestly, it's just of a butcher's sort of type thing. But if you've got little ones, as I've said, you may want to turn it off, skip that little bit. It's okay. I will happily warn you beforehand. It is a small room. It will literally be very quick anyway. I will let you know. So this is the game, and as you can tell, the atmosphere, it's got quite a dingy look to it. So everything that is on The Sims, it's a lot brighter and maybe a little bit more in your face. This is the I think the word is protagonist. That's probably wrong. So it's about this little boy here who's currently carrying a toothbrush. But anyway, more onto the design. So we're currently in the garden, and it has two main features, one of which is this little area here. So we've got a couple of little boys fishing, and yes, we can tell they're boys. I'm not entirely sure if this is meant to be a fountain or a pond, but as you can see, it leads from one side to the other. The other part is just around the corner. It is here. We've got a nice little shed. It's a very sweet little shed. It looks a bit run down, but that gives it just a little bit more character. So if we go inside the shed, we've got a few bits here. It just sort of looks like a bit of storage, not like there's much going on. For The Sims, I figured it was pretty much the perfect place to put some woodwork in, and I added some of the extra tools and things you can find with the debug menu. So we added that as well. We've got trees around, a little bit of shrubbery, but ultimately it's not the brightest place. You can see there's these little planters all the way around, so I used them as an opportunity to add some planters for The Sims so they can put their own flowers in. I have added a bit more colour into the game. The Sims game, of course. Just to cheer up the garden a bit. So in correspondence to that, we have our little shed down here and the bins. Even attempted to add the logs. As you can see, we've got our little workstation, and I've added quite a lot of the debug items just to try and enhance that. And on the inside I've tried to copy what was there by adding a few more objects just to make it look the same, really. We've got the benches in the same place. There's a lot with the placement in this because of the detail in the game. I was really able to try and get the placement right. We've got our planters and they go all the way around the outside. As you can tell, there is lots of greenery, and every so often I've put in a bit more colour with the flowers. And then we've got our fountain, and we've got the bridge. And as you can tell, with this bridge here, I hadn't quite learnt the skill of how to pull it over so I could have the water go underneath. So it's nice to go back to a build that you haven't seen in a while, and you can see how you've improved with your building skills, and that is definitely one of them. And this is personally also the first bridge I ever attempted to make, so considering that, I'm still quite proud of it, but I know I could do better. So we might as well carry on in the Sims for a minute. We've got the living room. We've got lots of bookcases. There is so many bookcases. I was getting confused what I was saying then. But there are bookcases everywhere. So these guys love to read. Or they love to collect books. We've got a little TV here. I know I could have put a bigger one in, but it's a smaller style TV in the game. I even tried to have the placement of the chairs in the correct sort of way. You can tell this one's a bit further back. And then come over to a nice little piano area and some more books and the dining room. We've got our paintings. There's one there, and if I pop the walls up, there's another. I knew there was another one somewhere. There's another one here. Even attempted to create the log pile. That wasn't the best, but for my first attempt at recreating something, it certainly had a good attempt anyway. So this part here, it is an oven, as you will see in a minute of sorts. So I lifted up the fireplace. Luckily, as you can imagine, that would then go onto the second floor, but this part actually doesn't have a second floor above it, so I've left it open. And we got the kitchen, and also a cold storage freezer room as well. And we come into here. This is the room that will contain a butcher's sort of vibe to it. I'm not entirely sure if that's what it is. It's called another cold room in the game. So yeah, but there wasn't really much I thought of what to do with this. I added the curtains because there's curtains in it on like rails that go around. But it is mostly just an extra storage room. And apparently we had a vampire die here, so I'm sorry that happened. Maybe you should have come inside. So we're going to go into that living area now. We've got some nice... No, we're not, because that is the wrong side. Let's go back. Oh, I forgot to mention. This is typical me. There's always something else. We've got all the ivy around the outside, and we've got it also around the fences here, and I try my best to add as much of that detail as possible into the Sims, and you've got it around the house as well. In the Sims, you may have seen it already, I will go back to it, that I have actually chosen red for the ivy. It stood out a bit more on the game, and it still kept that vibe, but I thought the garden needed colour, so we had red, and in all honesty, that was the main reasoning. So here we go, as we come into this area, as you can see, it's the little sort of static TV. I don't know if that is correct or not. And we've got our chairs as well. Our piano area. I must admit, everything in this game, everything seems just slightly too big. As much as this is a child, I don't think the adults would necessarily fit either. if that makes sense. I believe it makes sense to me. So we've got the pictures, the dining table. I mean, guys, you could literally do a 100-mile sprint from this one end of the table to the other. I didn't mean 100 miles, that's meant to be meters. Yes, I knew that. Then we come into the kitchen. This is so this is the oven that I created with the fireplace. It's, as you can tell, it works because of the colouring of it as well, like with the orange bricks. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's got an orange, guys. So we've got the rest of the kitchen. It's quite plain, very simple. Nothing really much to talk of. We've got a little table here and some storage. I mean, these guys like their beetroot apparently, and maybe they have beetroot cake with the look of all that flour. You never know. I mean, if anyone's ever had it, I don't even know if it exists, but it could be tasty. Then we come into a freezer, such a storage room. Okay, and this is your warning, guys. If you got little ones, we are about to go into the other cold room, the area that I described almost like a butcher's. Ultimately, it's not going to be long at all. So this is it. This is the cold room. So as we come in here, this is sort of mostly what I was warning about. But as you can see, this is the bit I really sort of relied on, that there wasn't much I could do. So I kind of took the boxes, and I also kind of tried to add the surfaces where I could, as well as the, not necessarily the railings, but the curtains that are up too. If we go back to the living room, and we'll come out into this hallway here. We've got lots of pictures. The hallways are quite empty, in all honesty. You've got seats and extra bits dotted around and plants. It seems unnecessarily big, to be honest. So in The Sims, mine are a lot smaller. One, because of the space of the plot, but also it's a completely different game, completely different style. So you can see with the bathroom, we've got the tiling. I tried to add in the way the sinks are done. That's a lot of toilet roll, guys. I mean, I'm not sure how many people live here. There's certainly space for quite a few though. So I tried to recreate the sink with the, I can't remember the name, so I'm going to call them kitchen surfaces. Luckily we've got the right type bath that we can use on The Sims. There's little things dotted around like this toolbox here that they're important to the game for referencing and things. So I did try to add them into The Sims. For those of you that know the game, just the references to the game just make it that little bit extra quirky and awesome, let's be honest. So we are going to come through and go through the next door. This is another hallway, like I said, very plain. I did enjoy recreating these tiles. It took me a long time to do. I think I done it all with the triangle flooring, so it took a little while, but it worked. I say that a lot. Of course it worked, otherwise it would not be in the build. We come into a little tea room. It's very simple, very plain. We've got another grandfather clock. I believe that's there is a difference, isn't there? You get a grandmother clock and a grandfather clock, or I am completely going off on one. That's not unusual for me to get confused. Yeah, we've got the coffee machine. There's quite a few coffee machines around here. I'm not entirely sure why, but I added a tea machine into the tea room. Can't imagine why. So that there is extra shelving in there. We're gonna come back out of the door we came in, and we're sort of gonna skip the left-hand side for a little while because I'm gonna save the best bit till last. There's a few little seating areas dotted around, which I have added to the best of my ability. This room, I love this room. This was a really, really nice one to recreate with the cats and dogs expansion pack. There was lots of nautical themed objects, so I could reuse them to create something similar to what we're looking at, as well as the table at the end. So here we are back at the house in The Sims, I should specify. So we've got the plants and some of the paintings again. I added the little chair here on the left. And then as we go into the bathroom, as you can see, I have a corner on this part because of the size of the bathroom, and in all honesty, I could have made it a little bit bigger. That wouldn't have been too difficult, but I didn't. We've got the toilet, and you may notice I added the tools here to the side. So I've tried to add that little reference in. And we go around, we've got straight into this seating area. The floor plan isn't the best compared to what it is in game, but with the sizes and everything, I had to compromise a few times, but it doesn't take away from the actual shape of it. There's just some hallways are a little bit smaller than others, and it is what it is. So we've got this room here, and for a reason to come in here, because let's be honest, our Sims don't need this many rooms. I added a chess table, and then, as I said earlier, in the tea room, which actually looks huge compared to the one in Lucius. I did have trouble sizing. I think I actually ended up making it bigger purely for the roof. The roofs that are circular are a struggle. I do struggle with them. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person, but they really are a struggle. So as I said, I added the little tea area. I mean, it's a tea room, so why not? And we've got the extra big grandfather clock here as well, which does poke out at the top, but luckily there is not a room above, so it's just been covered over with the roof. So we come along this hallway, and yeah, like I said, it did take me a while to do with the floor, and it probably doesn't look like much, but with the angles it's at, it did have to be done with the triangle tiles. So this hall is actually a little bit shorter. It is one of those, I was saying, this part sort of actually comes up past this door before we get to the seating area. And onto one of my favourite rooms. I haven't actually done anything like this since, but we've got, I'm going to put the walls up and hope I don't. That's exactly what I was expecting. Okay, that's not going to work. So anyway, we've got the boats, we've got the cannons, and we've got anchors here. I do believe, if I can get it to work, fingers crossed. Oh, okay. There it is. We've got the ship's wheel on the top. I don't know if you noticed, there was like a couple of it's almost like a sliding wall. They were pushed to the side before we got to this little table area here. So I tried to add them. So we carry on. So we can, this little part goes into a little loop. We come into the library here. It's a tall library. It leads up. We've got some lovely windows here. Not quite the same. I mean, they're a lot more modern compared to the game. But I like the long windows and the tallness to it. I'm not entirely sure that's what I was going to say originally. But as you can tell, I lose my words lots, and I'm not used to talking this much either. So we do, the library's quite extensive, especially for what it is. And then we even come out into this room, and we've got even more library. We've got lots of books. We've got a nice little seated area here, like a little cove out of the way, and that's nice. And one of the things I always really want in my life that I cannot afford, of course. Then we come into this room. It's another seated area, but we've actually got our football table. I do not know what it's called, and I do apologise for that, but I am definitely afraid I will get it wrong and it will blow up in my face. Not that it really matters. So that actually replaces a pool table, and we sort of come along into another open area that leads straight off from it, which is more of a bar area. And try to add that extra detail here as well with the bookcase. And over here, I mean, I've got the glass bottles and they look good. And then we've also got this little wooden shelf here with our soap. I mean, your hands just can't be too clean sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that at all. As you can tell, I've tried to add quite a lot of the plants around as well. And we come into this corridor. Got a little bit of wine storage here, and we come into the corridor. It's got lots of boxes. I'm not entirely sure why. I kind of think, well, maybe they just haven't been living there long, or perhaps they've just got so much space they store the junk in this hallway and pretend it doesn't exist. We've got these stairs here, which are the same as the stairs on the other side of the building over here. And both of these go straight up to the 3rd floor. So as I've said, this part here is open and there is no entryway to the 2nd floor. And on this side, it's basically the same. So it worked well. I must admit, when I first saw it, I was a bit daunted. So we're back here again with Lucius. And as you can see, these are the sort of sliding wall / glass things that I was trying to recreate. And we come into the library. As I said, it's quite big. I tried to add in the archways where they are. Unfortunately, we don't have ladders, although to be honest, we might now with the live objects edit cheat thing with the debug. So yeah, we come out and obviously we've got our little corner here where we can sit and read and ignore the world. Like I said, we've got our pool table and some more seating as well. We come over to the bar. I added fishes instead of the antelopes. I believe that's what they're called. And then as you can see, we've got the bar area and the bookcase, and of course another coffee machine. That was in The Sims. You can tell I've added, there was sauce on the oh look guys, we can pick it up. Now we can walk around with a bottle of ketchup. Oh no, that's not ketchup, that is actually alcohol, I'm guessing, of sorts. But as you can tell, it's a wooden shelf, more to the point, so I wanted to add the wooden shelf in. It doesn't have the shelf above it. And I do realise now that I could have added the other bottles that I put onto the bar. So this is it, our little junk corridor. We've got the bottles and the drinks, and it comes back up into our library. So it goes into a nice full circle, which also comes out the other way. So from here, we are going to go to the 2nd floor. As I've mentioned, the stairs on either side of the house lead straight up to the 3rd floor. And before I forget, no, don't know why I came all the way around this way, but I did. So we've got a grand staircase here with some more flooring that I really tried to recreate. I fell in love with this style floor. Don't know why, but I did. It just really stood out to me, and it was something I wanted to try to create to the best of my ability. Unfortunately, I couldn't add it on the wall. That was a little bit difficult. which I probably could if I wanted to add CC into it, so that's something to bear in mind as well. So under here we've got like a little doorway that goes underneath the staircase, and it leads to some bedrooms. So in the bedroom, some of them have got items that are kind of unique to that room. Specifically the next two that I can remember. In this room we've got the papers on the floor, the documents are there, and the next one we've got lots of cosmetics. So I obviously really tried my hardest to add that to give the rooms their own personality according to whoever the owner of it was. The hallway, it's quite a big hallway. It's got lots of different statues in it. The Roman pedestals I used for this that were in The Sims for putting the statues on, they fit perfectly with it. In the middle here we've got our balcony. And I am going to quickly go to the other side, which leads to just some more bedrooms. Nothing particularly interesting, which is why I'm trying to do it as quick as possible. However, there is a guitar in this room, and I should have added it, but I don't believe I did. So that's a little bit rubbish, to be honest, on my part there. We've got the easel in this room, which I did add. Luckily, I remembered that once. We've got a whole little painting area for our Sims as well. So we just had a quick look around of the second floor, but before we get there, we do have the ivy, which I forgot again to say anything about. As I said, it's red rather than green. I tried to add it onto the detail of the building as well, with the pillars and the supports on the balcony as well. The ivy on the fence, if you build it in Sims, I could actually quickly demonstrate. Look at that. So if I quickly grab a fence, try to grab a fence, that'll do. Now, knowing my luck, this has actually changed since I built it. However, we shall see. So I'm just going to move it down so it fits. Right, so we can see it on that side, and then you turn around and oh my gosh, it's disappeared! So in order to get it on both sides, it took a lot of time to do. So I went around it on both sides, on both the inside and the outside. So yeah, that was my little demonstration of how frustrating that was, but at the same time, it didn't bother me because I wanted this build to be perfect. So we will actually go to that second floor. We came upon our main entranceway to start with. I've added the circular mat onto here, and I've also added the triangle flooring again. Slightly different to the other one because of space, and I also wanted to add the edging on. The edging on this I done with a carpet, and I shrunk it down. So it was, I believe it ended up a little bit longer than each square, so it overlaps quite a lot. But it gave the effect that I wanted. Being my first recreation, I was very worried that it wasn't going to be enough, especially because it was for someone else. And as much as I do ask people to suggest the builds, I feel like I have got a lot better since doing this build. So have a quick look in the hallway. As I said, we've tried to make it different, so I've added a few more flowers with the statues. My statues have got a little bit more creative recently. I've added different things onto by shrinking them down and wiggling them up and everything else. So we come to the bedrooms. There's quite a few. As I said, tried to add in those important little extras that made that room comparing it to the game itself. So we've added the documents here and also the cosmetics that are in this room. I must admit the bedrooms, they're not as close as I hoped I would be able to create them with the colour schemes and what they look like, but I'm happy with how they came out. So it's exactly the same on this side. We've got our bedrooms. Guys, I actually did. Look, I genuinely thought I didn't have a guitar, and I do. So that's made me happy. I didn't forget that small detail. And as I said, we've got our little painting area here. I tried to spruce it up a little bit. I keep saying that today. Tried to add to it with the paints and the paintbrushes with the debug as well. So from here we go up to the 3rd floor. Now this bit, the 3rd floor, varies quite a lot on the floor plan, mostly because the stairs wouldn't fit in the hallway in the space it was given. So I compromised. It wasn't a big compromise. I must admit the decoration of this hallway wasn't the best. I tried to stick to it as much as possible, but maybe I should have added a bit more extra in places that were slightly empty. That's something I've definitely started to do recently. So to start in here, it's just a plain little office, and apparently one of the Sims has been reading a book and couldn't be bothered to put it away. Nothing unusual there. And we come into another bathroom. Quite a lot of the recreations I do, I have to add the bathrooms in or decide which room what to make bigger or slightly change. So I do appreciate that actually now in this build in particular I didn't have to do that. And we come around to a balcony that looks down upon the library as well here, and we've got another office. This one has a few more sort of paperwork bits in from the get to work expansion pack. It also has a little TV up here as well, which is, there is a TV in the room. It's actually further towards where those suitcases are. So we changed it. And we've also got a typewriter here. The typewriter is here because there is actually a safe there, I believe. So I wanted something to go there because I just didn't like the idea of not replacing it with something. But ultimately, there wasn't a safe at this point that was small enough. I mean, I could have, and maybe I should have tried making the vault door a little bit smaller. I mean, that could have looked good. That would be something to think about adding when I see another one, or even if I create my own. We come into a little room here. It sort of seems like a waiting room, but it's just another little sitting area, and I'm guessing it's more for meetings or something in the office. We come around, we've got another little seated area here as well, just out from where the stairs come up from. Come over to this way, we've got the schoolroom. So in the schoolroom it's quite plain. We've got a chalkboard, we've got a desk for the tutor and a slightly smaller one for the child when they're doing their classes. And the biggest room on this part of the build has two sections. We've got this section which is of another office, and we've got another seating area. There's lots of seating areas in this, and as much as it gets a little bit repetitive to build and also talk about, at the same time I tried to get it to be as close as it is in the game as I could. So we're just, I think, which way do I need to go? So we're just about to go up to that 3rd floor. I believe this is the right side. It looks like it. As you can tell straight away, the stairs actually lead up, and this could be possible to create this curve now, which wasn't when I first created the build. So we come into this little office here. And then we've got our bathroom. As I said, it does get a little bit repetitive with these big builds. And the lovely windows. I looked at getting some CC for this build just to add for the stained glass, and for one of my builds I put them up on the gallery, and I had one with CC and one without, and ultimately putting one with CC up on the gallery just seemed like it wasn't worth it. In all honesty, it's a lot of trouble for people to go through and just try and find all the extra bits that you've added. So I haven't done that since. I did put it up with and without, and the one without got a lot more downloads. So we've got our TV here that I was talking about. I mean, I kind of was confused why it's there. I mean, I'm not really one for standing around watching TV, but maybe some people are. Maybe it's more for listening to while you work. So we did have the TV over in the corner so we can be lazy and work and watch it at the same time. And we've also got our safe as well. So we come out into our little sitting room, which I've added a bit more to it. And maybe it just seems that way because the rooms are very big for what they've got in them. And also into this one that leads to the stairs here that go all the way down to the first floor. Here we go, here's our little school room. We've got a globe, we've got the little animal posters, we've got a tutor there, we've got the books, we've got the little desk and the big desk, which is one of the things that I obviously tried to stick to. Then we come across, we've got the first part of this room, which is the office, and then also the seating area. We also come out here and we can go along the balcony. So we're going to go to the other side. In order to go to the other side, we have to go down to go back up again. I mean, I'm not sure this little boy should be running around, should you, Lucius? I mean, he looks sickly, guys. He does not look well at all. Maybe someone should take him to hospital. Well, maybe. Maybe he's a vampire. So here we are. We're on another step in our amazing Sim/Lucius collaboration tour. We've got the parents' room, and they've got a huge bed, and it seems like a ridiculous size. This is definitely more of a bouncy castle. And it's a shame we can't jump up and bounce on it. What kid hasn't found a beautiful bed like that and not bounced up and down on it? I mean, how can you not? So we've got the little stalls and the seating, which I added into the Sims as much as possible. My rooms are a lot smaller than what they are here, so they look a little bit more cramped together. But we have a seating area as well. And behind here we've got like the little closet and the... I don't know what it is. Like the little panelling. I know it has a name on The Sims and I've completely forgot. So we can come out of here and we actually go into Lucius's room. Go into Lucius's room. We've also got a balcony outside as well that goes around. So this is Lucius's room. Lucius. Oh, yep, this is the little boy's room. I'm having trouble saying his name so many times. It's becoming a bit of a tongue twister. So he's got a desk, he's got a few toys, he's got the trains here. I tried to add the trains. As much as we don't have a train track to add, we do have like train models that we could have added. It's a very simple room. Very small compared to the parents' room. I mean, you should have more toys and have that room. So anyway, we come round the corner. We've got another balcony out the side here. And we've got a few rooms to this side. We've got guest rooms. Very simple. This bit's cut off. We come into this room and I believe this is the uncle's room. And as you can tell, he has a few drinks laying around. He obviously gets very thirsty in his sleep, maybe. Yeah, that's wishful thinking. And we've also got another guest room here. The guest rooms are quite plain and simple. And we come out to this side. If we come down here, there's a bit here that leads right back to the parents' room. If we come up, we have a bathroom. It looks like the others, nothing particularly different about it, except maybe that one has water in it. And we have this room here, which, let's just say it is a computer room in The Sims. Although with not exactly a computer room. I did add, as you've got like the little mixing table, so I added that into The Sims, and as you can tell for the game, it isn't necessarily as innocent as it is on my creation. So we come back this way before I get confused. So this is where the stairs lead up to. So we've got, yay, another seating area. And then we've got another door that leads into this guest room, and the stairs that go all the way down lead here. So I've had to deal with quite a lot of repetitiveness. So we're going to quickly have a look on that on The Sims, and then we're going to actually look at the best part of this house. So here we are on the 3rd floor. We go into the parents' room. The bed certainly doesn't look as huge and bouncy as the other one, but I've so you can tell there's a few differences from the beginning. We've got our wardrobe is moved over this side a little bit, and we've also got quite a bit of a change in the shape and style of the hallway as well. Added curtains to make the 4-poster bed, as much as we have a 4-poster bed if you have, I think it's the City Living expansion pack. I like these ones, they go with the era a little bit better, and it goes with the game better as well, with the curtains up. I have tried it. Yeah. So then we go along, we've got our desk, we've also got the balcony, and then we've got our seating area. And Lucius's room, it looks a lot nicer. I mean, we've got bit more colour, that's for sure. We've got his trains, as I mentioned. I tried to add the little train set into it. We've got the wardrobe, toy boxes, and the teddy. There was a teddy in the Lucius's one. This one's not as creepy. I must admit that teddy in Lucius, I'm going to stop saying that name, that the other teddy was a little bit creepy, but I'm pretty sure that's how he's meant to look. But yeah, again, the hallway here, it diverts quite a lot from what we see in the game. And we have the guest rooms, and we have the giant cupboard as well. And obviously in this guest room, I added the liquor bottles, just for those of you that do know the game. And the thing is, they can't use them, and I'm not sure if you add it, if you can get rid of them. It's alright, if you don't know the game, you can get rid of all these little extra bits as well. as you can see straight over there, we've got our recording studio. So very different to in-game. I've added the posters and the music mixer, and we've also got the bathroom as well, which is currently being used, but it pretty much looks the same as all of the other bathrooms. And then we have our last sitting room forever. Thank you, just for this build. But as I've already said, we are building up to the best part, which I'm going to show you first in Lucius. Guys, back again for the last time. So we are coming straight through. We're going to skip the main hall this time, and we are going to come into the utility room. Yes! No, this is not quite what I was building up to, but you know, we are getting there. We are getting there slowly. I hope that anticipation is building. So we have a utility room, which is great for the laundry pack. As you can tell, most of it is basically from the laundry pack as well that will be on the Sims. You can understand why. It's very basic, simple, quite a big room for all your laundry. And if you've got the space, why not? And if you've got the workers too, come work for me, please. My house isn't that big, it won't take long. So we have the garage next. No, this is not what I was building up to. We're so close, guys. We are really close. So you can see there's quite a lot going on in the garage, and what I actually managed to recreate is quite different. So we've got the tyre pile here, which I did add in my own way, and we've also got a lot of tools and boxes hanging around in the car. I don't have the car in it, but as I've said earlier, now we have the live edit objects in the debug menu that I could add a car, or anybody else can add a car if they want to. I also believe I added some cards in here as well, just because these guys, they're always in here, they're always chatting, and why not give them something to do rather than work? So we come into our next room, and it's storage. We've got a dartboard here though, which obviously had to be added. It's quite an odd place for a dartboard, but I can understand it. We've got the cages, which have more random things in it, to be honest. Then we come down. Are you ready, guys? This is it. This is the best part. It's the wine. Everybody praise the wine. Right. Yes, I love wine, as you can tell. Who doesn't? Well, probably quite a few people. And honestly, I only like fruity wine, so I hope there is some of that in here. But as you can tell, we've got these black curtains here. And I am afraid that this is not the best part of the cellar. It is not the best part of the build, but I do warn you, it may not be for those who are faint of heart. And we're stuck because of the ball. Don't take your ball into the cellar, boy. Right, so we've got a nice inconspicuous door behind a rack of wine bottles, all very sealed away. Got a lovely, beautiful corridor that just emanates so much beauty and light. Got a nice door at the end that doesn't make you worry about what's behind it. And oh my gosh, this is what's behind it. So we have, I am afraid, this is my favourite room. I'm not going to deny it. It was amazing to recreate. It is a sacrificial chamber. As you can see, we've got a lovely place to lay and wait to sleep, maybe. We've got our skulls, and we've got the drapes. I really enjoyed the drapes that are hanging from the top. They were difficult to recreate, but I did do it. I did try. And we've also got a nice little extra area in here, like a little altar as well. Thank you for bearing with me, and as you can imagine, this is the last part of the the video. So we're going to start off with that lovely laundry room. There isn't as much to it as there is in game. I've added the shelves, the sink, tried to add a lot of, that's not working well, is it? A lot of the baskets that were on the floor and the railing. Ultimately, it does what it needed to do. And I would definitely say the same about the garage as well. So this is it. We've got the garage doors you can paint on. I did not know what to call them. And we've got this shelving as well. It looks a little bit more industrial and like what's in the game. For the tyres, when we built this, I only had these lovely tyres here. Some of them are from the debug menu, and I added some others with plants in as well. And instead of the car, as I said, we've got a table here for playing cards. And we've got a dartboard, most importantly, because that's what everybody needs. And we've even managed to recreate the cage type effect that was on the game as well. So we've got slight variation in how this is set up here that leads down to our wine cellar. As you can imagine, the wine cellar is very simple. Lots of wine, how we like it, how I like it, more importantly. And I've even managed to add in the black curtains. And now for the big finale. As you can imagine, I put a lot of effort into recreating this room. And we've got the same sort of dingy type look as we go down the stairs and into it. And it is quite difficult to make something that you never probably would have thought of making in The Sims 4. Some of you might have. I'm not going to say I personally would not have. But what I've done with it, I'm actually really proud of. This is my favourite room in the whole house. So here we go, guys. You've got lots of archways. I've added pillars and the decoration around the top. I've had a little bit of ivy in here that's dying and fading away. For our little sacrifice table here, where I actually used a coffee table, added the decoration around it. I added the candles. I thought they added so much to it, just also to brighten up the room. But it just gives it the right sort of effect, I hope. I managed to add some of the drapes. It was difficult to add these. Getting them in the right space and then twisting them around and figuring out what size I wanted them as well. Personally, I probably actually thinking now that they could have been a bit smaller. I mean, we've got some smaller ones here as well. I think if I had a little bit more patience, I could have added a lot more of the curtains in. But ultimately, I did not have that much patience. I can speak. So in here, we've got the little altar area. So instead of directly having an altar, we added I keep saying we when it's me. I clearly don't like talking about myself much in first person. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think it's first person, and if not, guys, when I say we, I mean me, but I get confused. That's probably the nicest way to say it. So we added an organ. If we've got a creepy room, we've got to have an organ. Whenever you watch something, there is always an organ playing on the bad parts or on the scary parts. Or when there's vampires about, that's what happens. The music, it's always an organ and it just has that creepy sound. So we added that down here. For those of you who do use CC, I don't know if you've heard of it, but there's a sacrificial mods. I'm not entirely sure that is correct, but you get the cursive painting. I added the cursive painting down here for one of my families, and it was It was horrendous. In all honesty, I do like the cursive painting, but I couldn't get anybody to do anything. But it was a fun game, and that family didn't actually last too long, unfortunately. But I enjoyed it. So all of you with slightly darker humour and like your Sims to see that slightly darker side, then you might want to give it a go. And obviously, last thing, this place needed the coffins. I chose the slightly more run-down ones. They fit in with the atmosphere a bit more than the more sort of prettier coffins. Because yes, we have pretty coffins. So yeah, it's a perfect place for a vampire as well, guys. So you got a vampire family. You can add some more and you can have like a whole crypt down here for them. Thank you for joining me for this video. It was quite a long one, so I appreciate it if you're still hanging around. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It was really nice to do a fictional build. It sort of brought two things I really enjoyed together. The Sims, which I know is a game, but more importantly building, and another game. I absolutely love games, mostly play RPGs, but guys, it would be amazing if you would just messaged me or sent a comment and just give me ideas of what to build next. My list is getting small and I need your help with that. I only have one brain and I only like certain type of buildings, to be honest, and I love variety. So please get in touch, okay? Everybody have a good day.